never mind. And there, yeah, I think this really is intended for our, so to speak, non-deaf colleagues, lah, right? And not to say that the technical guys and girls in the team are like super familiar with Scrum is a good refresher, but really the objective is to bring everyone to a new, I guess, base level where we all have at least some appreciation of what Scrum is, right? Yeah, if not, it might sound weird, lah. Like, well, what is this Scrum thing? I thought we're playing rugby now, so it's not a rugby thing, yes, it has its roots in rugby, but yeah, lah, it is decidedly established software engineering framework. Yeah, so I think yeah, just say, oh yeah, thanks, slightly. I see women joining in as well. Yeah, so as we go through I think it's casual. Feel free to weigh in. I mean, whoever, all our different experiences on Scrum, right? So that's to share a bit. When we first adopted this in Versafleet in, wow, I think 2017, I actually took it very seriously. I went to Project Management Institute and I got a certificate as a Agile certified practitioner. Yeah, and this is like a insane quiz lah. I got to do like I think 400 questions and like get 80% correct to get this silly certificate, which I forgot to renew, of course. And there are many frameworks out there lah, like there's certified Scrum developer, there's certified Scrum master, there's certified Scrum product owner, CSPO, CSD, CSS, yeah, things like that. Yeah, but I don't think anyone really needs this certs to understand Scrum. It's not rocket science. You can probably get the whole thing in like a couple hours or even after today's session. Yeah. So yeah, with that, I think yeah, go ahead, control.
Yep.
Thanks.
Thank you, Samir. So yes, everyone. Good morning, everyone. So thank you for joining the casual knowledge sharing. So because if this is casual, so please go ahead if you have any opinion or any knowledge regarding the Scrum, because I'm still learning too in this part. Okay. So yep. Let's continue to the next slide. So what are we going to learn today is more about first, what is agile, and then the second thing is why do we need Scrum to be agile? Okay, before we go to the Scrum, we need to know first what is agile. So, yep, what is agile? Is it a method? Is it Scrum, Kanban, or anything else? Is it same for that one or different? Okay, before going through, anyone can help me to interpret your opinion about agile. What is agile? Anyone? Maybe I can choose someone.
Go ahead.
Okay, Agung, what do you know about agile? Sorry, in this part, there is no mistake, or there is no wrong, there is no correct, okay? We're still learning. So, yep, I'm still learning too.
What's
So,
wrong with Snap? Me?
yep, Agung, do you know, what your opinion about agile? What do you know?
I think agile is um something that helps the team to get get the team to do something like what they want to do, and then to
Mhm.
deliver something to the team, what they need to do today and what we need to do um, tomorrow or yesterday, something like that. I don't know.
Yeah. It's okay, Agung. Yeah, yeah, it's almost correct actually. So, agile is the ability to create and respond to change. So, it means something like a fast responding and something like that. So, it's all about the methodology or a mindset. Okay, so agile is more about the mindset. Okay, I know all of you maybe still confused what mindset in this part. Okay, so in agile, actually there are a value for agile. So we want to go to the individuals and also the interaction. over the process and tools that we will use, and then also the working software rather the comprehensive documentation, and also customer collaboration. We want to get the customer collaboration rather the contract negotiation, and the last thing is responding to change for everything rather than following the plan and a plan and a plan again. Okay, so this is the value of agile. So we want to move forward, move fast, move to get the better response from customer or from our investor or anything lah. So we want to go fast to get that one. Okay, so agile is all about the mindset of our methodology. Okay, so but the next question is more about why we need to use agile. Okay, okay, agile is helping us to sustain the development process. Take a look closer. We will compare two things from the traditional software development and also agile software development. So in the software development, there are traditional process, sequential process, a fixed requirement, and also big bang delivery. So from gathering requirement until the design and also develop process, and then test the software later and then deploy and release to user, it will goes sequential. Means at the first time gathering requirement for the traditional process, it, let's say it takes like a 1 month, and then after that the design will go with another 1 month, and then development software will go with another 2 months, because they will be developed tools, and then after that testing the software, let's say 2 weeks, and then deploy and release to user, it will be another 2 weeks. So it will be like a lot of time that will be consumed with the traditional process, right? It's almost like a 5 months to building a system that we will produce to consumer, right? So it will be take a lot of time for that one. But if we go to the agile process, it's all about the mindset back again. So we try to create a small but size or MVP. We call it minimum viable product for it. So we gathering requirement only for the MVP or the small batch size, and then after that we doing design for that small size, and then creating development software for that small process, and then test it, and then also deploy, and then it will be iterate. I mean, it will go back again to the gather requirement, design, develop software, test the software, and then etc. So by doing that, we can get the feedback and evaluate any, let's say, bug or any uh, requirement from our customer fast, right? So agile is the concept of, or not sorry, not the concept, the methodology or the mindset that we will have if we can do it fast. So we, rather than using the traditional process, we will use the agile process. Then we will get the feedback as soon as possible. Okay, and also why we do need uh, agile, because this one is iterative. I mean, it will be version 1, and then another version 2, another version 3, another small product, then also incremental. So another other version will be completed first previous version, something like that. Okay, and the last thing is more about the risk of traditional process. Why we do need agile? Sorry, by traditional process, there will be a lot of time, right? So there will be a lot of risk that we will get. Let's say I mentioned about the risk of human resource. I mean, like the people change in the team that will be impacted your tools, right? So because the tool is not yet in the customer, then the people is changed. And also another thing is risk about the maybe the tools itself, controlling the tools, what is the process of the tools and something like that. By using the agile, we separate or we split it into uh, small MVP risk. Okay, so because if only focusing on the MVP, and then it will be smaller risk. And then also state on here starter iteration to learn it faster. I will share it later. Okay, that's it. Why agile and what is agile methodology and what is mindset that agile want to give for us if we implement agile rather than the traditional process. So until this one, is there any question regarding the agile first? Because if we want to go to the Scrum, we need to go first. What is agile? Because Scrum is a framework actually that uh, will help us to be agile. Okay, that's it.
Can you go to the previous
Mhm.
slide?
Yep.
Yeah. Can you explain more about the stick with the MTB stuff?
Uh, this one.
Can you? Yeah. Can you explain more about the stick with the MVP thing? Because I don't
Yep.
get it.
Okay. So, yep. At the first time, as you can see on here, Agung, actually, this risk is big, right? Because this one is the first MVP, right? In the process of it, there will be a iteration process inside that one, the small iteration. So I will share you later about that, what is sprint and etc. But the thing is, from gathering requirement, it will have like a small MVP product, minimum viable product. So rather than creating a full of product, full of features and
Okay,
tools,
okay, okay. Yeah.
then we will create that one. Okay, design and then develop, and then we will iterate, and then another release will be smaller, another version release, another version release, another version release. Okay.
Mm. Maybe one analogy that's popular in the at least the PMI
Mhm.
body of knowledge, so we are tested on, right, is an MVP is like making a cake by making one slice at a time, rather
Mm.
than you make the cake from the base layer all the way up, right? So you get a working slice of cake, so you can eat it, you can taste it, but you actually don't have the whole cake. Yeah, something like that.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Mhm. Thank you, Samuel. Okay. Anyone else? Having another question? Okay. Okay. If that's clear until this one, then we will go to the framework that incorporate the agile values and principle. Actually there are a lot of this one is only four, but there is a lot of framework that we can use, and the recommendation actually is more about the XP, Extreme Programming, Scrum, and Kanban, and also FDD. FDD is more about feature driven development. Okay, but for this sharing, I will focus on the Scrum itself. Okay, so why do we use Scrum to be agile? What is the good thing about Scrum that we can if we use that one, we can go agile. Okay, let me start with the definition first. Okay, Scrum is a framework that people can address complex adaptive problem in here. So Scrum is a framework. Disclaimer first: Scrum is not a tools. Scrum is a framework. Okay, so it's not. Although you're using Monday.com, or although you're using Jira, although you're using what else, ClickUp or etc. Another tools that
Trello,
one.
yeah.
Yep, you can use anything tools that you want, but the Scrum is a framework. What framework that the Scrum can provide actually is this one, the brief of Scrum process. Okay, I know, this is the big Scrum process, but we will go it one by one. The first one is we must know about the sprint. So, like I mentioned to you before, if we want to agile, then we will make a small MVP product first, and in one Scrum process, there will be time box, right? 2 weeks or 1 weeks of the Scrum, or maybe 1 month. uh, it's called sprint. So in one sprint, actually normally it will be 2 weeks. In just and also for example, if I'm not mistaken, correct me if I'm wrong, Joel, and also Waymin, yeah. But Why 2 weeks? It depends on the organization itself, because if it go to 1 month, it will be like too long, and we let for getting the customer feedback maybe, or in it. And if it too fast, let's say 1 week, it's hard for the Scrum team to checking the product itself. Okay, so we will go one by one. At least you know what is sprint. Okay, so one sprint consists of in Gossels 2 weeks. Okay, first we will go to the Scrum team first. So who are they? Who is the Scrum team? Okay, I will. Anyone can help me? Who are they? What is the Scrum team? Okay, I will choose one more. Eric, maybe you want to share who is the Scrum team? Who are they? The
Um,
role.
the roles, I
Mhm.
think. Okay, I don't know. I'm not very sure, but
Mhm.
my initial thoughts is, and please forgive me if I use the terms
It's fine.
wrongly. Uh, yeah, so I'm thinking as product owner,
Correct, correct.
designer. Um,
Very well.
I'm using designer very loosely, right? UI UX, I guess.
Yeah.
Uh, I think there's, um, I guess there will be engineers in the.
Yep.
I
Correct.
it makes sense, right? Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, I think that's the base group, I guess.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah. Please, yeah.
Yep. Correct. Correct. Eric. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for helping me for explain that one. So yes, in the Scrum team itself, we have some of the team. The first one is the product owner or the product manager. So yep, as you can see on here, he or she will be maintain the product. What is the MVP that have the prioritization, the highest prioritization, and also maintaining the product backlog. I will share to you what is the product backlog level, and also for the end attribute itself. He or she will empowering the team and also business savvy. Yes, of course, because they will share to the development team or engineering team later what is they need to do, and also knowledgeable and available to teams and stakeholder whenever their team or their stakeholder needs. And also for the function itself is more about the customer voice communicator and decider what is the product backlog that we want to add in this sprint. Okay, the second
Hmm.
one is
It must
Scrum Master.
be worthy to wield the Yolnir, the hammer. You know, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's heavy actually. Yeah. And also the next one is Scrum Master. Scrum Master. Yeah, maybe some of you doesn't know what is Scrum Master. So Scrum Master is more about the person that will be maintaining the Scrum processes. So they are not the business one. They are not the development one. It's something like sorry.
Oh, is
So
that
sorry.
a
There's a
lightning
lot.
bolt?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. There's
Hmm.
a lot of happening in here. Okay. Okay. Sorry. Go back to the Scrum Master. So he is the one that will maintaining the Scrum processes. So rather than focusing on the business or rather than focusing on the tech team, it will be maintaining and also make sure that there won't be any internal and external restriction for the board of the team. Okay, Scrum Master attribute is humble, respectful, and connected. And the function is more about the coaching. So if let's say we have a problem regarding the Scrum process, I don't know what is this Scrum, and also why we need to use Scrum. The Scrum Master will help us to be protector and also coaching us. Okay, and then the next thing is development team. So the development team actually is not about the what do you call it, the tech team only, but it's more about the UX, UI, UX, and etc. Something like that. So what they do actually making the tools lah. The ideal size for the team is 3 until 9 people, but it's different from the each organization. Yep, that's the Scrum team. Any question for that one? Okay, if not yet, then we will go to the Scrum artifact. Now, Scrum artifact is more about the, what do you call it? It's easier to say it as document. So what will the artifact or document that will you have by using the Scrum? Okay, so the first one is there will be a product backlog. Okay, so product backlog actually never never empty. Okay, because there is a lot of customer feedback. There will be a lot of investor feedback or something like that, or what the product owner want. So they will store in the product backlog. Okay, in the Jira, actually the one is called backlog section. Now in that one, there will be a lot of idea, not the detailed idea, but the idea, and then we store it in that product backlog. Okay, and then the second one is the sprint backlog. Sprint backlog actually the smaller version or the MVP version for the each sprint document or sprint requirement. Okay, but as you can see on here, it will we will have the sprint backlog after we did sprint planning, but I will share you later about the sprint planning. Okay, the last one is the increment. So if let's say from the sprint review we will get something like a feedback and something like uh, maybe bug or something, and that will be we will put it in the increment and then move it back in the product backlog later. Okay. Nah, it's related to Scrum event, so I will continue to this first. The first one will in the Scrum itself. There are four event. The first one is sprint planning. Second one is sprint dailies, daily sprint that we that we already did by 15 minutes each day. And the third one is sprint review. The last one is sprint retrospective. Okay, from the first one, the sprint planning. Okay, what is sprint planning? Sprint planning is more about the planning of the product backlog that we have. So we have a lot of product backlog, like let's say we have like 100 requirements. But in the sprint planning, okay, we decide in the sprint what we will have and build. Okay, so from 100, we will create a sprint backlog, maybe only 10 or only 20, based on the development team that we have. What is the prioritization? Actually, this one comes from the product owner. So they, the one that will be communicate with the business for the prioritization, and also will decide what is the backlog that we will uh, go on the sprint. Okay, and then after that, after we did sprint planning, we will do daily sprint each day. The normal time for daily sprint is actually 5 until 15 minutes, because if you uh, having more time than 15 minutes, it's not good actually, because you know that the development team need to be like uh, what do you call, working on and continue their backlog, right? And then the last one is sorry, not the last one. The third one is sprint review. Now, the sprint review itself is after we get the sprint planning, and then after the development team, and also including the UI UX and designer and creating the tools, we will have the sprint review. Sprint review actually like a demoing the application. In GoSearch, we have an IDT, right? So it's something like that. But so in the sprint review itself, we are reviewing what is the feedback from the customer. Sorry, not the
Mm.
customer actually, from the Mhm.
Yeah,
Yes,
maybe you
please.
can explain the IDT lah. IDT is
Yeah.
Agung, you want to explain your acronym IDT?
Oh yeah. So basically, IDT stands for it's demo time. It's not Indonesian time zone, but IDT is it's demo time that we will be weekly. Like actually, right after the release, after release to production, then in the next day, I will do the IDT to the team. Mostly for the ops team, for the product team, and yeah, of course for the development team as well. So yeah, I think that's all about it about the IDT. So basically, it's just reviewing what feature was released, what's new feature or what changes we made to the application or the web app, something like that. Yeah, it just takes about 30 minutes lah, 30 minute-ish, something like that. Yeah, that's IDT.
Thanks, thanks.
I'm doing it. Thank you.
Yep, yep. Thanks, Agu. Yep, yep. So it's something like IDT lah, that we already have right now. The difference is more about the I don't know. It's almost same actually that we are demoing something, and if for the sprint review actually we can get the feedback directly, and then that feedback or that bug or that whatever you said bug or another requirement, it will goes to the increment of it. Okay, the last one is sprint retrospective. Now, sprint retrospective is more about uh, the introspection for the team. So there are actually three main thing that we will discuss. The first one is what went well in the current sprint, in the previous sprint, what didn't go well in the previous sprint, and also the last one is the action plan that we will improve for the next sprint. So by using that one in each 2 weeks and in each sprint, we will get the better sprint. Okay. Okay, for the detail itself, actually, I have this PowerPoint lah. So the sprint plan is something like this lah. If we using offline, it's something like that lah. So we have a lot of product backlog, and then discussing together with the development team, product owner, and also the Scrum Master regarding what the prioritization that we will have in the sprint, or something like that. So we move from product backlog into the sprint backlog. And the next one is daily sprint daily. Actually, a lot of people saying that daily stand up because we need stand up because if let's why there are a reason why people from the stand up need to be a real stand up, because if let's say you have like a more than 15 minutes, then you will be get tired, right? If you stand up, some people just doing sit and etc. But yep, the idea is stand up. Daily stand up is truly stand up. Okay, so yep, the three things that share in here is more about what I did yesterday, what I will do today, and is there any blocker that can help by the team, something. And the sprint review, like I mentioned before, is regarding the demo time. So like Agung did in the IDT, show and tell the progress of the team, and also list down the backlog that have been done and gathering feedback if any. And sprint retrospective that I mentioned before, we did actually in the Gosser helping by Nazira regarding this one. So we in each sprint we still doing the retrospective, so we can continue what we want to solve in the next sprint, what we want to have in the next sprint, and we don't want to have in the next sprint. Okay, I think that's all of the introduction of Agile and Scrum. Is there any question or do you still confused regarding this one? Please go ahead and asking anything.
Hi.
Yep.
Yeah, I agree that Agile and Scrum is flexible or time effective framework for some case, especially for Versafleet. But I think we cannot say that other methodology is not good. It depends on the need itself. I think to make us easier to understand more about what is Scrum, what is Agile, can we do comparison with the other method or other framework?
Do you mean this one ya? Bintang. Do you mean this
No,
one?
like between maybe agile and waterfall. Why we use
Oh, agile.
agile rather than waterfall?
Yep.
The fundamental one,
Okay, okay. Thank you, Bintang.
the traditional one, yeah.
Mhm.
When we know why we use agile compared to traditional one,
Mhm.
so I think we can understand more.
Yep, yep. Thank you, Bintang. Yes, like I mentioned before about the traditional. Yep, you're correct. I forget about in software development we usually using the word of waterfall because it's something like a waterfall, right? Gather requirement and then design and then develop software, and test software, and develop. So yep, like I mentioned before, for the traditional process, it will be sequential process and then it will be take a lot of times. Let's say gathering requirement it needs like a 2 month, and then design will be 1 month, develop software in be another 2 month, and then test software will be 2 weeks, and the total of it will be 5 months only for the developing a software. In the meantime, there will be a chance of the customer requirement, right? Let's say in the next 5 months we build it, and then after that we release it to the customer, and then the customer feedback will be, oh, I don't really need these tools again. Then it will be useless, right? Because of that, there comes the agile process. Yeah, Scrum is a framework inside that one. Yep, correct, Bintang. Thank you for reminding me again for this one. So we, for this agile process, we rather, rather than creating the full size of the product, we will have like a small batch size. So we will do iterative for the process inside the waterfall itself.
Mhm.
Yep.
Yeah. Thank you. The traditional one is more suitable for like vendor or IT consultant, right?
Yep. Correct.
Because they have agreement in the beginning about the requirement. The requirement is rigid, I think.
Yep.
It's not suitable for the MVP because many change are there when we do MVP. Yeah, agree.
Yep. Yep. Agree. Agree. Bintang. Yeah. Like Bintang mentioned, yeah, I forgot about the traditional process and also the agile. Actually, uh, there is no wrong or right again, but this is more about what is suitable for each organization. Like Bintang said, for the vendoring system, it will be good for the traditional process because they cannot like another 2 weeks we have like another requirement for our vendor, and then another 2 weeks we have another requirement for our vendor. Actually, it's hard lah for vendoring because yeah, it's fixed actually at the state of gathering requirement and also design. It must be fixed before it goes to the vendor, right? Yep.
Mhm.
But
Yep.
mm,
Maybe just to add, yeah, thanks for adding, Mitang. So, so I mentioned the PMI ACP cert that I got, right? It's, I mean, if you think about it, PMI is from the Project Management Institute, which produces the PMP cert, lah, Project Management Professional. PMP is basically the traditional process, right? So there is a PMP body of knowledge, same thing, lah, hundreds of MCQs, you do the thing, and it might seem weird, like why is an organization that sells, it makes its main revenue from PMP suddenly offering this agile certificate, right? So the reason is simple. So even within Versafleet, right, there are some processes that we should actually take a slightly more waterfall approach. For example, we have a change request, right? So, oh, there's all these specifications, and then we actually have in the contract, right, these milestones, right, and we are paid
Yeah.
based on these milestones, right? So it doesn't mean that internally we should also do the same, right? It's just the external communicated expectation, and internally we still work on sprints, right? Just that we communicate in this way, lah, right? And so, for example, when it's relating to our typical product life cycle management, right? For VersaFleet, we want new features, right? We should obviously test it, then we get a feedback, and then we put it in the roadmap. Yeah. So there's you could imagine it as two processes operating at the same time in even in VersaFleet, right? So like I would say maybe 70-80% of the time is agile. The 20-30% of the time is this waterfall, right? And again, there is no right or wrong. Okay. A simple way to understand this is if say we want to make an aeroplane, right? If we take an agile process, I don't think anybody will want to get on board an aeroplane, right? So you probably want to do this thing, right? So oops, can't see your screen. Sorry. Yeah. So the distinction, another way we regard this is the difference between a white box process and a black box, right? So if it's a white box, meaning I know what an airplane looks like. I know it needs wings, it needs engines and all that. It needs to load people and it can land and take off safely. The requirements are clear, great, right? So this is a white box, right? Everything is clear. But if it's a black box, maybe the agile slide, I think the one after, yeah, a black box, right? The requirements are not clear. Okay, I don't know yet what the customer wants, right? Maybe they want a button here, maybe they want a mobile app, I don't know, responsive app, right? So the point is to, because nobody knows, especially the customer, we therefore take an iterative process, right? So this is one way to distinguish which approach is more suitable. Is it a white box? Is it a black box? Yeah. Mhm. And maybe just to add a bit, right? So in terms of the frameworks, I think the next slide. Yeah, so Scrum has been accepted to be the main one. But anybody knows or can guess what XP, where XP came from, the origins, or what it stands for? All right. It rings a
Windows
bell.
XP.
Exactly. Who was saying that?
Me.
Yash.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. That's right. So XP was exemplified in the development of Windows XP. Lah. So those, I guess, old enough. Wait, how old are you again? Yash, how come you heard of Windows XP again? Never mind. I think this was in the late 90s, Windows XP. So at the turn of the century, like 99 or what. So this actually stands for extreme programming. What happens is the sprint is 1 week, and what they do is the client is part of the sprint. It's insane, right? So they actually got the end users to be in the same room, and it's like Monday they lock themselves in the room, right? Developers, UI, product owners, clients, and then they code, and then by Thursday they release, Friday they demo, right? And that's how Windows XP was created, according to legend, which also explains why it was a crappy product. But anyway, it's a bit intense, so we don't really use it most places. But there are software development houses that take a 1 week sprint approach, and it's looks something like XP, but a bit too intense, if you ask me. Yeah. Okay, sorry. Any questions? Oh, sorry. Maybe, Kuncho, we could show a bit of our Jira stuff, just to put some context.
This one, Sammy?
Yep. Maybe next 5 minutes. Just quickly, what is what? Yep.
Oh, do you want to share or me? Sorry.
Oh, you can go ahead. Yep.
Okay, okay. Yeah, on the Jira itself, actually, like I mentioned before, we have a product backlog. Actually, Najira and Samir, the one that actively adding the idea or the requirement from the business, from Eric in the gutter as Eric and also Adil, yeah, if I'm not mistaken. And then she will put in here and also mapping into the which sprint or which prioritization that we will handle that one. Okay, and then after that, in the sprint planning, we will have a board. So we will have this board for this sprint, GOT sprint 36, regarding the ticket that the prioritization is highest than another. So we have a lot of ticket on here. So in this one, actually, it's almost same like a Kanban. So if we can go back to Kanban first, Kanban is a framework that will that differentiate between the the tasks for the statuses of the task. So as you can see on here, the first one is the to-do list. So yep, we have a lot of to-do list in here, and then after that we will move it into the in progress. So the task that the ticket that that still be finishing by the team, and after that it will goes to the review, and then review is more something like so if you have you already create the task, then your teammate need or your team leader need to checking the updated one and updated code, and then after that it will goes to move to QA, and then after that the QA team will move it to done or back again to do if there is something bug happen on the code. Okay, now for the embedded one, actually it's more about what if the requirement is not clear yet, or what if there is a change in the requirement or a problem regarding that one. We can move it in embedded and then discuss it in let's say daily sprint, daily stand up. I think that's all. Samir, do you want to add something about this one?
Yeah, yeah, and for what do you call it, the retrospective, we put it in our Notion board lah. Yeah,
Oh
so
yeah,
this is yeah, the what do you call this? What worked well, what could we could do
the
better.
retrospective. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Actually, if you ask me, right, the retrospective is the most important. Uh, I mean, in terms of like managing, lah, right? Because this is where things like okay, we need more developers, right? Will come in, right? Or we need better processes, or we I don't know, the Jira, we hit our limit, we need to upgrade the plan, right? Things like that. So this is where, at least for me, is the most important, right? Of course, for the yeah, things like this. For like the product owner, the sprint review will be the most important. Also for the like the sales and marketing team, because maybe you can show. I think we put it in Google Drive. Is it our IDT slides that are
Ah,
good?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Connecting.
So this is where new features are announced, right? And for VersaFleet, for example, right, we need to know um, exactly when we can talk about a new feature, right? Same thing for God Search. Yeah, of course, the context is quite different, right? So the idea here is that we need to be in sync, lah, like because every 2 weeks there's new stuff, right? So what is the new stuff, right? What we used to do, which I think we're trying to get back in place, is like a product update, right? Which runs like every 2 sprints, right? So like every month is basically a summary of the sprint reviews, right? If you think about it, right? So uh, yeah lah, I think one or the other is fine. I know for specifically we're trying to bring back the product updates, but it's actually not as important, right? Because the sprint review in the like production deployment notes is clear, right? Just that sometimes it might seem a bit more technical, like what are the changes like here, right? So yeah, like the product update kind of relates it to a business context a bit more clearly, lah, I suppose. Yep. Okay. Yep. Anything anybody want to ask or add on? Actually, curious, Justin, if you're there, were we doing like sprints when developing Sim Fleet and stuff? Then
Mm-hmm. Yep. We're Actually, we're also having like a Scrum meeting every day with Eric, if I can remember.
Nice, nice.
And yep, we divide the task into 2 weeks, which I think we are also calling sprint also. But
Mm.
there's no sprint review or retrospective.
Okay. Not at that time lah. Yeah. Yeah. So here's the thing lah, right? So if you ask any company how much of Scrum they adopt, right? It's seldom 100%, right? So like even within like sprint planning, right? So there is a by right way to do it where we do what we call a white band Delphi or planning poker, like where we estimate the effort for each card and then everybody kind of yeah, guess in like together like, oh, what is the thing. Yeah, oh, there's a tool for it now. Nice. So yeah, we used to do this at Versa Fleet, and then we're like, okay, it's taking way too long. And then what happens is the technical leads will just score every card. I think now for even God says we don't even bother, right? We don't get into it, and so
Yeah.
yeah, I think these are like the ideal states, lah, right? But there's no right or wrong. I mean, we can at one point, I don't know, if we have 8 developers, we can do this. Uh, there's some value to this. It actually brings all developers into this state of assessing the effort of each card, right? So if like somebody thinks it's like 89 points, somebody thinks it's 1 point, that whoa, something's not right, right? There's clearly something the lowest estimate guy knows that this guy doesn't know, right? And maybe we need to share that knowledge, right? For example, things like that. Hmm. Cool, cool. Yeah, I think the good thing is both teams, right? We actually have lots of engineers with experiences using Scrum, in the various organizations we work at, right? And again, I'm not a purist for this. I think we should adapt the artifacts that work for us, right? And be sensible about it, lah, right? If it it makes sense, okay, do it. If it doesn't, then don't bother. It's fine, right? So like even the sprint length, right? It doesn't always have to be 2 weeks. Like I think last month we had a series of short sprints because there was the Hari Raya Lebaran break, and then I don't know Visa Day or something after that. So we had like 4 day sprint or something like that, lah. So it's not like perfectly correct in a Scrum way, but whatever, lah. It's our organization, right? We do what makes sense for ourselves. Mm. Okay.
Yep.
Yep. Yep. Maybe. Yeah. I don't know. Is this helpful? Like I don't know. It might be the first time for some of us hearing about all of this, right? So maybe let's check, like, I don't know, like say ideal, like, is this helpful, or actually some of it is quite familiar already?
Yeah, actually, parts of it I'm familiar with. I think one pick I had is on the Scrum team. So basically, had some technical things to notice on that one. So yeah, good to see the composition of that. But some other stuff, yeah, I'm a little familiar using also.
Nice, nice. Yeah, yeah. I think one thing to
We
note
have a
about.
subject like this in college.
Oh, serious? Oh, that's
Yeah.
nice. Okay. Yeah, the Scrum team, right? If you notice, again, the purest Scrum view is that all team members are equal, right? Maybe you can go to the is it the Iron Man slide? Yeah, so you see that there's no distinction between like a mobile developer, front end or back end, or junior or senior or mid level, right? Everyone is part of the team, right? And I think that's the ideal, and it's also not too big, right? So that's one. Um, on the product owner, like who is right? Um, Again, the purest view is that it should be one person, unambiguous. So for God's sake, that would be Nazira, lah, right, as chief design officer. So she's a PO, right? And the product owner is different from sometimes a team would have a product manager. Okay, so the product manager, a bit different, right? It might be in charge of a specific product line or family or suite of products. Uh, Tends to be a bit more engineering oriented, right? We've been experimenting with this role successfully or not in VersaFleet, and right now there's no PM role per se lah. In Godsearch, neither lah, there isn't, and that role, those functions is just subsumed lah under the product owner bit. That's two. Then if you look at the Scrum Master, maybe if you go back to it's Captain America. Yeah. So ideally, again, the purist view is that the Scrum Master isn't part of the sprint, right? So it should not be a part of the development team. It should not be the product owner either. So who is this, right? So I'm not sure. So I used to be playing the Scrum Master role in VersaFleet, right? And I think it's like a referee role, right? So you can broker some peace or like handling disputes between like product owner needs this by this deadline, engineering team think that's too risky to do. Then the Scrum Master will come in like, okay, what's happening, right? Or like say the sprint has started, right? 2 weeks. And by right, the development team should not be touched or bothered, right? Because the backlog has been decided. And then some team members come in and start disturbing, hey, can you just rush this thing? Can you do this hot fix? All that. Then the Scrum Master will come in and say, hello, no, okay, wait till the next sprint planning, right? Unless it's like a priority one issue, like a house is on fire. So this is that role. Yep. Okay, cool. Okay, I got to run. Any last questions or things anybody want to add? Maybe Joel or Women. Mm, okay, I'm not sure whether everyone's mic is working. Yeah. Yep. So I think this is more a refresher for most of us. Mm, I mean, thank you again, Michiro, for going through this. Anything else you want to mention before we wrap up?
Yeah, I think the one last thing that I want to tell is more about. So by using this, by telling and sharing this about the Scrum process, yeah, hopefully from the another team from the Scrum team now about what is the process inside the tech team and what we trying to build in next 2 weeks and why we need this 2 weeks. So and also if you have like any feedback or any requirement that it will make good search especially better, then you can ask product owner or Nazira directly. Then we will yes. If we check it on the prioritization, then we will make it on the sprint backlog, of course. Yep, I think that's all from me. Thank you.
Cool. Thanks, Michiro. Thanks, everyone. All right.
Yeah, thank you, thank you.
Thanks, Vinta.
Cool.
Right.
Thanks everyone. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.